I don't know if you guys have seen this movie that came out like a couple of weeks ago on Netflix. It's called Damsel. The movie Damsel, yeah. It's actually very interesting, I'm not going to lie. Very interesting, but before we get right into this movie, I'm Alexis, and you know who the best is. Welcome to another episode of Popcorn Pulse on Darkroom TV, where we help navigate the expanded world of TV shows and movies. But before I get right into my thoughts on this movie, I'm just going to be reading the plot summary of this movie, and it says a young woman's marriage to a charming prince turns into a fierce fight for survival when she's offered up as a sacrifice to a fire-breathing dragon. Emphasis on the fire-breathing dragon. Don't worry, we'll come back to that and I'll tell you why I emphasize on that. Now, this movie, I have my pros and my cons on this movie. Everybody was just rating it. I was saying other reviews on this movie, yes, and everybody was just rating it 9 over 10, 8 over 10, and I'm like, does this movie really deserve it? No shade to the crew. Damsel, which is the amazing writer of this movie, and Juan Carlos, who is the amazing director of this movie. Fun fact, Damsel, the one that wrote this movie, he also wrote Fast X, that's Fast and Furious X. So kudos to him. No shade, I promise, but I mean, I have my own criticism on this movie, to be honest. I'm not even going to lie. Well, let's just talk about the pros for now, yeah? This movie, one thing I like about this movie is it's very interesting. I'm not even capping on this. It's very, very interesting. Of course, it's a dark, adventurous fantasy. It's a fictional kind of movie. So everything is solely based on imagination, which is not bad, because the things that like they try to portray in this movie, if you see it in a cartoon, to be honest, you're not even going to see any flaw in it, based on the fact that it is like a movie, not an animation. Yeah, I have my questions. Like, there are some confusing moments for me. Like, I needed answers to like those moments. Like, what? But yeah, let's just get into like, the pros. One thing about this movie is it keeps you on your toes. Like, the suspense is high. Almost wants to give you high BP. Like, what is going to happen next? Like, what is happening? Is she going to die? Is the fire breathing dragon going to burn her alive? I mean, that dragon breathes out volcano. Like, there is a whole furnace in that dragon, because I mean, if you see the fire coming out, you'll be so scared. She's in a freaking cave with a fire-breathing dragon, a mystical being. I mean, it is interesting. Obviously, you want to know, okay, what happened? Like, how did she find herself in that situation? So it's about like this lady, like as we said from plot summary, yeah. Her name is Elodie, yeah, from a surviving village, I'll put it that way. Her father is like the head. I don't know, they didn't specify if they were exactly from a royal family, but yeah, her father is like, let's say he's the king of the family, and her mom is dead. She has a younger sister and a step mom. Yeah, so it's about like her, especially like, like you said, she was given out to a young prince for marriage, then later found that she was a sacrifice to the fire-breathing dragon. Emphasis on my pros right now is the fact that it is very interesting. It has good suspense to it. You want to anticipate what happens next. The scene to the movie, the cinematography, everything was given. Everything was okay. It was bad. So now let's come to my cons here. I was seeing a lot of loopholes. I was seeing a lot of things that I was like, is this one in real life? Is this going to actually happen? First of all, the thing I noticed, she was supposed to like do this ritual with the prince for her to like be a confirmed royal blood. And she was supposed to throw like a coin into the cave before she was being thrown into the cave. She didn't know she was going to be thrown into that cave yet at this point, yeah? So she was holding a coin, then the camera had like a close-up shot on when she was holding it, and I saw her painted, colored, fixed nails. I mean, in that kind of setting, in that kind of like, setting where I was seeing like fixed colored nails. They didn't have it then in the ancient times. I'm sure of that. Then her makeup, her face. These are the things I noticed. Like this is my own. Oh. These are things I noticed from the movie. Her face, she was wearing heavy makeup. Now let's now talk about when she was thrown down the cave. In this cave, there was a lot of things that happened that I was like, okay. So when she was falling, when she was falling down the cave, there were like a lot of thorns, like while she was coming down, and this cave is high with thorns all over. She was falling down. This girl fell down and did not break any bone in her body. Make it make sense. I get the vibe of the movie. They're trying to make you feel like, oh yes, she's this ordinary girl that actually survived a mystical being. An imaginative. Let's come back to the fact that it's an imaginative kind of movie. Fine. No doubt. Fine, that is interesting. But at least make it a bit realistic. Make it a bit believable. Some things were not just adding up for me. I mean, before she started running, when she just got into the cave and she was still talking to the dragon, she had time to run. She had time to fight. The dragon was calm. It was taking its time. Okay, you had your time. You didn't run away. You were still gisting with dragon. Then there's this dramatic scene that dragon did. Like, now this is my interesting part. Run. Oh my god, that's when she started running with a heavy gown. Those kind of gowns has this iron ball stuff to support it, to give it this ball kind of vibe. So she had that iron in her. Tell me how she was able to outrun that dragon's breath of fire. Tell me how. I mean, this dragon is breathing out volcano, and you are just a small being running away from that fire. And tell me you escaped with your heavy gown and the iron in it. You outran that. Again, make it make sense. The prince was not in support of this. I mean, he has been seeing this happen for a while. He's not in support of this. They didn't put any characteristics. I was expecting the prince to do something. I was expecting the prince to because he actually had more chemistry with her than the rest of the people he was engaged to, or rest of the princesses he was engaged to. He had more chemistry with her. So I was expecting the prince to for them to give more character to the prince. Okay, come rescue her. I'm sure they didn't want it to be cliche, the prince coming to save her, changing his mind, no supporting the family. But at least I was expecting some, attitude or more character from the prince, but that was not there. They just made him follow everything his mom or his parents said. Well, I leave that aside. So now back to the father coming to save her from the cave. Yeah, I understand you accepted the offer because your kingdom is suffering from hunger. But I mean, you claim that was your most treasured or prized love, or most prized piece in your heart, or most prized somebody, or most loved somebody. I don't even know how to say it. In your heart. English has failed me now because I'm confused, really. And you sacrifice this person for the betterment of your kingdom. In less than 24 hours, it ticks in your head that, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to do this. I don't want to do this. Now, you pay this hired merchandise, or what they call them, to follow you to the cave. Me personally, I would give it 6.5 over 10. If I'm being fair, I'll put it at 7 over 10. I don't know why people are giving it 8 over 10, 9 over 10. So I even said somebody giving it 11 over 10. Come on now. You guys, I feel some people were just watching it blindly. Fine. For the interest of it, fine. To feed your eyes, good, no problem. But I mean, let's call out a good movie when we see one. It is a good movie, oh. It is a very good movie. No shade. And this movie was actually from a novel, so we understand why it's an imaginative movie. But they should have tried better. They should have delivered a little bit, make it a bit realistic for us, a bit realistic. There are more loopholes to this. Tell me what your loophole is, when you see it. Mention it in the comment section, because I mean, we have to discuss it. So guys, this is the end of this episode. Make sure you like, repost, share, subscribe, and follow us on all pages, YouTube, Instagram most especially. This video is going to be on there, so make sure you do all of that. And comments, let me know your thoughts in the comment section also. Don't fail to do that. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time, same place. Bye.